Hey guys, Jasmine here. I have a very exciting doctor's appointment on Tuesday. It is Sunday night right now, and so I wanted to sort of talk about what's going on. So my doctor's appointment it's really exciting because it's the first programming, DBS programming that I've had in 6 months, I think, since my initial DBS programming after my second surgery. It's been a while, and the reason for that is that they didn't want to touch it for a while. They got it to a good setting, but they wanted to sort of leave it for a little bit to let your brain get used to the current, and then they can kind of tweak it. And in the past, when I have done some programming, because we programmed my first side, I had 6 months between the two sides. We did sort of touch it a little bit, but my doctor was kind of very much okay with how things were, and they were really good. And they are really good right now. My settings are really good. But what I want to do is really challenge that and challenge her on that a little bit and be like, okay, my settings are good, but can we really, really get into it and really tweak them and focus on the little areas where there are challenges, and get a really fine-tuned setting to make sure that it's at least close to the best one for me, because we'll be programming it probably for the next couple of years. But if we can get a really good base right now and really challenge where things are, and then in a couple months later challenge that again. So that's really one of my big goals out of this appointment, is to really challenge my DBS settings. The other thing I really want to do is, so after my DBS, we kind of made this mistake, and I'm realizing it's a mistake now, but, life's a learning process, and it was nobody's fault, this mistake, is that we kind of treated my DBS like a cure-all, and also treated the other meds besides levodopa, which is the Parkinson's gold standard. We sort of treated those meds like they were something that I should stop, and that I should just keep levodopa and try to lower levodopa. But even if I couldn't lower the levodopa that much, it wasn't a big deal because it was working. And so we stopped all the other supportive meds of levodopa. And the reason why that's a problem is because it'd probably be better to be on Azlect and Comtan and a low dose of levodopa than to be on my max dose of levodopa. Particularly because for me, at least, it was amantadine that had the issues, and as long as I'm not dyskinetic, I don't need the amantadine. That's the one that I'm really going to avoid, because that med in particular just plummeted my blood pressure and shot up my heart rate, and I was passing out all the time. So it was really bad. Whereas my blood pressure and heart rate have been more or less okay lately. They've been pretty good. So I've been really happy, particularly since I've been on TPN. Before I was on TPN, when I was just on tube feeds, it was still a little shaky. But since I've been being hydrated more through the TPN, I really am stable in that range. And so it's really nice to be stable in that sense. And so, because the other thing about the way we treated the meds and treated DBS as kind of a cure-all is that we forgot, I think, that DBS isn't cure. And it's just a really, really, really good treatment. For all intents and purposes, I still have advanced stage Parkinson's disease. And so, I still need to treat it as if I do, and to really, get the most out of those supporting therapies. Partially because all of those things can also be increased. The reason I wanted to get off of those is because I wanted to, keep them for a future if I needed them, but I can also just increase everything a little bit. I can still be on them. And so I'm kind of getting over that, fear of those other medications. And I guess I had that fear because I only got on those medications when I really hit that late stage. And particularly now because recently, about a month ago, I had a pretty bad episode of dyskinesia from taking too much levodopa. I sort of accidentally gave myself an extra dose, but we know now that I'm on the most levodopa that my body can handle. Without side effects, and so I'd really like to lower that, and to get on these other medications. So that's one really big thing that we're doing. The other really big thing that I want to ask about, and I don't know if my neurologist will say yes to this, is something called duopa. And so duopa is something called the levodopa pump. It's it's kind of like my TPN pump, like an IV pump, and you plug cartridges into it, and then you put it into a J tube. And so what they're doing with people with advanced stage PD is they're actually putting a J tube in them for levodopa for duopa. I already have a J tube. That's just sort of sitting there right now. I mean, I'm using it for all my meds, and I do run a small amount of feeds over 12 hours during the day. But I don't, like, I mean, you can run them at the same time. And so why not press her to try to see if she can get me the duopa? Because it's literally already there. I wouldn't even have to have the surgery that most people would have to get duopa. For most people, getting duopa would be a huge deal because you'd have to have surgery, and a J-tube is not a comfortable surgery. But if you have advanced stage Parkinson's and you're taking 20, 30 pills of levodopa a day and it's still not working, it's absolutely worth it to have a surgery for one medication, because that's just how vital levodopa is for Parkinson's patients. But I have it already, so we might as well. So I'm going to ask about that and really try to get that, because I think that it could just drastically improve things. I mean, like I said, things are really good. And physically, like, I shouldn't complain because I'm doing really well, but things can always get better, and they're definitely not 100%. And I really do think that the more I can move, the more that I can exercise and feel good and get my body working, and the longer that my health is going to last. You know, it's interesting now, going from now to where I was just a couple months ago. Hey, Snickers. That's my dog. A couple months ago, my health was really Snickers. She just wants love. Snickers. Anyways, sorry about that. My health was really shaky, a couple months ago. Whoops. And so I was really, not so comfortable with, well, I mean, I wasn't so comfortable with where I was, but really, I wasn't so worried about making it last long, because, not to be super grim and horrible, but I wasn't that concerned about the future. But now I am. Now I really am. Now I've, like, seen what health it could be like again, and I want it. And I want to fight for it, and I want to make my treatments last a long time so that I can have more years of good. TPN is working for me. I've gained 15 pounds. I'm feeling like a human again. My cognition is not completely back. I'm still having some issues with that, but it's getting so much better. DBS really does mess up your brain. It makes it really difficult to think. And so I'm kind of a little bit pausy right now. It's like, for me, it really sort of impeded my abilities to start tasks, and to focus on, like, one thing. But that's finally coming back. It's been almost 8 months now since I had DBS, and it's been great. I mean, it's finally, I'd say in the past, like, month or two, it started to come back, plus just having nutrition. If you think about it, I was malnourished for about a year and a half, and that really takes its toll on your brain, and it takes a while, even when you start getting nourishment, for that to come back. Because your brain is just starved for nutrients, and it can't function, and so it was just really difficult. But now, like, things are coming back, like, the wheels are turning in my mind, and so now, you know, I want to make my health last so that I can use my mind for longer. And the other things about that treatment plan is that all those other medications in addition, so the duopa would be my levodopa. It'd be my Cinemet. I wouldn't be taking pills of Cinemet crushed up into my J-tube anymore. It would be the duopa. You know, it'll be really interesting to see, and I kind of, if it gets approved, I really can't wait to sort of report on that, on my experiences with duopa, just because I think it could just be revolutionary, in the way I feel. And that's what I noticed with this treatment. Like, I think I'm doing great, and then something new comes along, something new that increases my treatment, and it's like, whoa, this is what, like, closer to health feels like. I don't even remember what that feels like, what hell feels like, but you know, it's like there's always that more. There's always that further push. And so I'm excited with this appointment to get these treatments that could further that push. So that's my appointment on Tuesday down in San Diego. We'll be making the drive down to Kaiser San Marcos. Luckily, my doctor who works at Kaiser La Jolla spends 1 day a week up at San Marcos, and that's when we try to catch her because it's like 40 minutes closer. It's still 2.5 hours. But it's so worth the drive because she really is a great neurologist. And I'm really excited to report back how the DBS programming is going, like what they did, how they did it, and also to, to talk about these med things. Hopefully to be telling you I got on duopa, and I got on Aslex and Comtan, and was sort of able to complement that therapy that way. So that's where this is at. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to reporting back. Thanks, bye.